Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining this Zoom meeting. We've done a little bit of an interview with Steve Daniel with Quantum Techniques, and I'm also a practitioner. But we wanted to share with you kind of what we're experiencing and dealing with this coronavirus, to be able to help you and to understand how we can help you. So I want to introduce Steve Daniel. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Dr. Daniel, and I am the founder of QT. I've been doing this now 22 years full-time, and I work remotely with people all over the world. Great time to do remote healing work. You know, right now, if you're a healthcare practitioner, you're either non-essential, like massage therapist, acupuncturist, chiropractor, dentist, according to the guidelines. I'm not saying that's true.
Yeah.
Or you're on the front line and you've been exposed to it. Me, it's just me and my Rottweiler in my home, and you know, it's working pretty good. So I am the founder. God has gifted me with a lot of information that's helped people heal for 22 years all over the planet. And so, you know, I'm very honored to be given this work to do, and to have some things to be able to provide at no cost to people that can rapidly, you know, get them in the right space to heal from this I'll say plague that's hitting our world right now.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little about what or how QT works, how Quantum Techniques works.
If I talk about the principles of QT, it is what the body can see, it can heal. Okay. Now, you would think, well, why can't the body see everything? Well, the body is built like a circuit breaker. You know, if my house gets hit by lightning, it pops the circuit breakers. You know, so thank goodness, otherwise my house would burn down.
Right.
But just because the lightning storm passed, if I want to live in that house and have lights and my food doesn't go bad, I have to know how to go out and reset the circuit breakers. The body's like that. When you have trauma, now trauma can be the fear right now. Mm-hmm. Trauma about your finances, trauma about, oh, I'm going to die, my loved ones are going to die. Trauma can be physical, like pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals. It can be a pathogen. But when that happens, the body pops a circuit breaker to protect itself. Quantum Techniques knows how to go back in, identify all the circuit breakers, turn them back on so the information the body needs to see is available, okay, through the circuit breakers. And then we say, okay, what caused this circuit breaker to pop? And with all chronic issues, it's both physical and non-physical. There may be emotional trauma. Okay, well, if you're chronically ill and been told it's all in your head by traditional medicine for 20 years, guess what? You have PTSD caused by the medical system. Okay. But everyone that we work with a chronic issue has a toxin that's blocking their ability to control inflammation, balance their immune system, balance the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems, and detoxify the body. So with QT, we're able to reset the circuit breakers, show the body the information, and then the body heals itself. In QT, how do we do that? We use a universal language, and we call it a code. Everybody on the planet has acupressure meridians and points. Yeah. So if you go to your acupuncturist, it doesn't matter whether you can speak their language or not, they're going to check your pulses, look at your tongue, and they're going to put needles in certain places to allow the most information to flow for healing. Okay. Well, QT's like that. The difference is we give you a code of acupressure points. And it's like if you were my client and I was an acupuncturist, I would show you where to put the needles in, and then you can needle yourself 3 times a day for the next month before you call me back and stay healing. Well, with Quantum Techniques, you simply have to read a code of acupressure points, and it's like, I just retreated you. So that stimulates the body's flow of information, the immune system, the detoxification system, all the systems in the body that got, I'll say, knocked offline, got affected by the circuit breakers being popped.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good explanation, and I've always enjoyed that circuit breaker analogy because it makes sense. Because there's sometimes, hey, it's not working. What's
Right.
going on? And you have to go check it several times out in the garage.
Right. Well, and our bodies are like that. Sometimes, which is, it's frustrating for all of us, but sometimes on a chronic issue, the body gives all the information at once and you have one session. Other times, because maybe the body's wisdom says the person can't handle showing all that old infection or can't detoxify at once, it unwraps in layers. And that's the frustration. A lot of people have never worked with me. They send me an email and they say, of course, they've never filled out a history. I don't have a picture. They say, well, this is my issue. How many sessions will it take me to heal and how long? It's like, that's kind of like calling up your mechanic and saying, my car quit working. Okay, how much is it going to cost to fix it? And how long is it going to last before it breaks down again? Well, nobody can know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what is a QT code? I mean, you kind of described about the meridians and how our acupressure points that we use do that, but how does the code work on the system to balance it? Maybe is the best way to put that.
Well, it clears. Let's go back to something else. Okay, I said what the body can see, it can heal. Mm-hmm. We are all created, whether or not you believe it doesn't matter, with a divine healing intelligence. If you think about it, drugs or surgery don't cure anything. Drugs take care of the symptom until the body's immune system heals it. Mm-hmm. Surgery removes something, but it's the body's system that heals it. Okay, so the code works by supplying all the information the body needs so it can do the natural healing it was created to do.
That's a good way. Sometimes it's hard to explain these to clients, even as I work with them. So I appreciate the explanation. So how does this work remotely then?
It's kind of interesting. And this gets back to a deep understanding of spirituality and consciousness. We're all connected. And, example, they actually showed that, and I can't remember, Larry Dossey, Reinventing Medicine. That's the book. It's an older book. But they talked about taking cells out of a volunteer's mouth, okay, and stimulating, I think the volunteer or the cells, I can't remember which one. I think it was, okay, they stimulated the volunteer. The cells were several miles away in a lab in a petri dish, and they could see the cells respond even though they were miles away. So we're all connected. And, people, like I have clients, I work for somebody today in India, okay, somebody else in the UK, somebody else in Australia. And it sounds weird, but if I have a picture of you or I have your voice, it's like I'm right there in front of you. I get all the information. And so we're going to talk about some coronavirus clients later. I had someone who's a client in the UK send me a picture of their brother-in-law who's in Paris, who was in a ventilator. Been in a ventilator for 5 days, wasn't looking good. From the picture, I was able to treat him for the coronavirus. And I'm not saying that QT did it. I'm not claiming that. I'm just telling you what happened. 3 days later, he was off the ventilator. Okay. The virus was gone. It was just getting over the bacteria that came with it. Right. And so, if you think about this, imagine that, you hear your grandchild's voice on the phone, and all of a sudden you feel all these emotions. Well, that's just a phone call. No, it feels like he's right there. Okay. So in the same way that you watch a movie, that can be an old movie, but you're deeply affected. We're all connected. And so the remote work, and let me say, I was a clinical psychologist face-to-face for over 20 years. The remote work is more effective than face-to-face. Why? Well, if I'm face-to-face as a psychologist, I have to take part of my energy while I'm hearing horrendous stories of abuse, and take that energy to mask my face and emotions. Because if I say, oh my God, and start crying, it really doesn't help the client.
Got it.
When I'm working remotely, I don't have to waste any energy masking my emotions or even worrying about it. If I have tears coming down my face hearing a story, it doesn't interfere with the process because the client's not looking at me. That's why I don't work remotely over video. Besides, I like to wear a tank top. I'm a little more casual than this is my formal wear here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times I say it's like prayer. In other words, if we're going to pray for our grandma, we know them, we know who they are, and so we pray over them. God help them,
Right.
have a happy day. It's the same thing, So yeah, so that's
Right. Well,
how
and
we kind of know their injury.
yeah, and I've said that, the code you read for yourself or somebody else is a form of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed when I work with a client and some emotional issue will come up and I will feel it in my body. And a lot of time I'll say, okay, and it happens a lot more if I'm working with a surrogate. In other words, let's say I'm working with a mom for a child or for sometimes a dog. And I'll get an emotion of what that child hasn't been able to express. And so I'll say, okay, we need to stop just for a little bit, and I run our trauma code and let that emotion kind of dissipate. And I'm always amazed that I can feel what their emotion is and at the same time get what the block of the punishing belief or the blocking belief or vow that they have that's keeping them in a non-healed state.
Well, and I know Jody has done a YouTube video where she goes in depth in the trauma code.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that we've always found, like you say, with chronic issues not healing, there's always a physical and non-physical aspect.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we'll talk about is I found that God always shows up just in time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Moses would have liked to known the plan ahead of time before he stepped into the water. I'm sure Daniel and Lions Den would have, if God would have said, hey, listen, see the 9-foot angel with a huge sword, you're covered. That just doesn't work that way. He shows up right in time. Well, a month before the coronavirus, QT was giving a news scan that deals with what's the non-physical field. That's usually a trauma that will hide the information necessary for healing so that we can find all of it and clear it. It's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Well, traditional research has shown that 6 weeks after a major trauma, like a death or a divorce or a job loss, there is a measurable response in a person's immune ability. Mm. Well, think about right now. You've got this collective fear terror field of I'm going to lose everything, I'm going to die, people I love are going to die. That is really stomping down people's immune systems. And the video that Jody did, which she can tell you how to get to that later, clearing that trauma so your immune system can work is very valuable.
Yeah. Well, give us some, we've talked a little about the coronavirus, but what has been your insights about that you would like to tell people?
Well, I think if you look at when your immune system is up and running and strong, then it takes care of viruses and bacteria and all that stuff. Yeah. And that's why they're showing, elderly people that are already compromised are the most at risk.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think that when all this is said and done, the majority of us over the next 2 years are going to catch the coronavirus. I think the fatality rate will be less than the flu once we actually have the numbers. So, yeah, we are going to have some fatalities. But we start to look at, okay, what do you do to support your immune system? Now, Jody sent me a YouTube video by a Dr. Thomas Cowan, MD, and it was kind of interesting. He showed how every pandemic had been preceded by a new electromagnetic field, whether that was radar, World War II, various things before each major pandemic. And right now, and I don't really have an opinion, I'm just telling you his research. Yeah. It's the G5. Mm-hmm. And the #1 city where G5 was first fully engaged was the city in China where this quote originated from.
Yeah,
so
the
his
5G, which is the electromagnetic.
right, for the new cell phones.
Yeah.
Because what they have to do is, for like that, it's kind of like not that long ago, well, in my lifetime at least, not that long ago, they put up all the global positioning satellites so we could run our GPS.
Yeah.
Well, they put those in that place in our atmosphere. Pandemic. Okay. This one, they're putting up new satellites that emit radiation in that same field. And so now we have another pandemic. I don't know if that's it or not, but I know that when you're ingesting toxins, okay, like if your water's bad, if you're eating food that's bad for you, you typically don't have your normal zip and energy and everything else, but it will impair your immune system. Okay, and so people that are chronically immune compromised have hidden pathogens their body can't see. Okay, and that's part of our putting the circuit breakers online. But they're always having something toxic in their environment. A food or two they're eating that they don't know is hurting them. Could be their water, could be their laundry soap, chemicals. So if they clean that up, their body works better in terms of its immune function and detoxification and controlling inflammation.
Yeah, I've always found that everybody's body is different. And so, 5G made us affect certain people, but people that may have a compromised immune system or have heavy metals or whatever it is, they'll react to different things. And so that's why I said everybody's body is different. So their level of toxicity in their body will determine on whether they react to certain things, which is kind of what you're saying, is that those toxins create the inflammation in the body that causes the issue.
Well, and I would say this, I have treated right now 6 people so far that have the coronavirus. I've screened many more. Okay. And when we screen people energetically, we're simply asking, does this balance the frequency?
Right.
Okay. And so that's a free gift on our website, front page, where you can read that code. And more importantly, if you're concerned about people, write down a list of everybody that you want to send that to, and then as a blessing of love, read that code, intending it for everybody in the list, 2 or 3 times in a row, 3 or 4 times a day. It sure can't hurt them because it's basically a prayer of healing information.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing in my own neighborhood. When I walk early in the morning, I'm just going house to house and releasing the code in the neighborhood. And I don't know who lives in the house, but I just care and want the best for them. And so, yeah, that's what I've been doing. And then along with my, my mom and dad and family.
The people I've treated were all immune compromised. 4 were elderly. 2 did not do any 3 did not do any standard medical care. The 2 elderly people cleared it in a half a day with mild symptoms. The younger person who didn't do anything had been coughing for 4 days. In the session before we got off the phone, it was a 20-minute session. Their cough was gone. They were clear in another 2 days. 2 other elderly people that are immune compromised, they were doing the malaria drug, I can't pronounce it very well, zinc in a Z-Pack. And they had tested positive with medical studies. I confirmed that. They were both symptom-free in 3 days. The one person, like I mentioned earlier, in the ICU on a ventilator, was in bad shape. He had been in the hospital on a ventilator for 4 days before their relatives sent me their picture. And 3 days later, they were clear. So I'm not saying QT did that, because I'm not going to, claim credit. I'm just going to say, what have we seen happen? And I do know from my testing that oregano oil, and I don't make any money off any products, It's an antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. Is highly effective against the coronavirus. The one I really like, you can buy on eBay, and it's the company that makes it is Biotics Research.
Yeah.
The product's called ADP, Apple David Paul, and it's a tablet. It's a form of time-released oregano.
I use that and I love it.
Right. Yeah.
The recording only has about 10 more minutes, so I want to cut to the things that we really want to say. Let's see, so I'm kind of looking through. Maybe like, what advice do you want to give people that we may have not kind of covered already, especially with like the immune system and things like that?
Well, I think we've covered the immune system.
Okay.
Okay. Again, we can do a new treatment that does require a call to a practitioner, probably wouldn't take more than 15, 20 minutes, that will clear any non-physical issues or physical issues blocking a full immune response.
Yeah.
Taking the oregano oil or the ADP would be helpful, but the non-physical is huge.
Yeah, that's true. We have not talked about that.
Right. So live in gratitude every day. You know what? I've got food to eat today. I don't have the coronavirus today. I've got money to pay my payment today. No, I can't talk about next week or next month because I don't know that. But heaven is living in gratitude today. Live in the moment. Don't let your imagination run with it. And let me tell you something. Since we're created in the image of God, we are naturally creative. We have the choice of where we aim it. We can't turn it off. So if you don't create positive things, you're going to create fear. And I disagree with the secret. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you're in fear all the time, you're going to attract more things to be fearful of. If you're in gratitude, you're going to attract more things to be gratitude. And then the thing is, kind of like, Jody was saying, find a way to give back to others.
Yes.
Okay, if that's simply you've got a neighbor and you're reading the code for them, or you take their paper up their front door because they can't go out and get it. You offer to walk their dog. There's so many things we can do. You're going to the grocery store anyway. Ask your neighbor, can you pick up something at the same time if they're immune compromised? All those things, they draw us closer together and they put us in that gratitude place. I would recommend, you're going to have to develop a deeper spiritual consciousness. I think this time in the world is going to force people for transformation. One of my favorite consciousness spiritual teachers, not religious, Guy Finley, guyfinleynow.org, and he's got a book which really helped me through some rough times called The Essential Laws of Fearless Living. Again, you can buy that on Amazon or use copies on eBay, but that is really a good thing to study. But right now, understand you can aim your creativity. What are you going to do? Write your memoirs, contact your kids, take care of somebody else, clean your house, but don't sit there and watch the news and just be more and more terrified every 5 minutes.
Yeah, one thing that I really have appreciated through all the years of knowing you is that you say this is not to you, but for you.
Right. Yeah, and that's been part of my life journey. I'm 66, been through some rough times, and so understanding that things can only happen for you. Now, you is not my physical body where I just want to be comfortable all the time. You is your true spiritual self that needs to be connected and transformed. And so this is a great time of transformation. Yes. And you get to choose. Let me say this: you're going to be transformed one way or the other. You get to choose. Do you go on a journey of gratitude? Okay, it's kind of like one of my metaphors that I've said years ago is like, God grabs me by the nose and says, we're going to take a walk. Now, I can scream and fight and get my nose pulled the whole way, or I can say, okay, and jump up in his arms and take a walk and see the beautiful garden and learn to trust and know that all is okay. Or I can go screaming and yelling in terror and rage. I get to choose. But we're going on the journey. And in this pandemic, guess what? We're all on a journey together.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose to not go on the journey. You get to choose which path you take on the journey.
I've been amazed at the fact that I went through September 11 and then the downturn in the market in '08, that my response to this is so different. And
Right.
it sometimes amazes me how different it is in the fact that I know that I'm on that different path. And so grateful for quantum techniques and you as being a great example to help get through those times. And so it's just been a tremendous blessing for me and my family. And we're just enjoying time being together and being the best we can be for each other. And then I can take that out, and I said, and share it with more people to help others.
Well, and I think something else to add to that, that I've been teaching for years, where you direct your consciousness or your mind, and specifically what time zone you live in, determines your level of suffering.
Yeah.
If you leave this present moment in gratitude, oh, it may be simple. It's a beautiful sunset. Okay. I get to walk my dog. I've got food to eat. If you leave the present moment in gratitude and you go into the future, you will create anxiety. Oh, I'm not going to get that vacation. Somebody might die. It might 401k. Or you go in the past. You go in the past and you're beating yourself up for things that you couldn't have changed anyway. But now, if 20 years have gone by, oh, I would have done something different. Don't leave the present moment in gratitude unless you have a desire to suffer, because you will.
And that's a hard practice, but it is so makes
Right.
sense. Definitely.
Yeah. And so, Jody, why don't you talk about, because I know we have some recording limits time-wise, why don't you talk about the offer and what the offer is and how people can get that?
Okay, you may need to fill in the gaps, but so at Quantum Techniques, you can go to our website at www.quantumtechniques.com, and you can fill out a session request to fill out your information, and we are offering 10 minutes free of testing to find out if your body resonates with the coronavirus virus frequency, and then also work on putting the body back online so that it can communicate with itself and be back in a healing state. So that's what we're offering. And then if you want to continue to work and find maybe what things are blocking your immune system, like foods and toxins, things like that, we can continue. But that is up to you, and we would ask you if you wanted to do that.
Well, and also there's on our website, there is an article that Dr. Carolee Johnson wrote.
Yes.
Plus there's a coronavirus code that you can, like we said, read for yourself or others. Whether you have symptoms or not, it just balances the body and gives protection.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So those are our questions, and so I'm just grateful that you allowed me to interview you so you can kind of see what Quantum Techniques is all about and what we're doing to try to help. And so I'm Jody Colegrove with Quantum Techniques, and this is Steve Daniel. And so we're just grateful that we can reach out and help people and explain what we do.
Well, and reach out as you need. Their practitioners are on call 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And so someone can get back to you. Just go to the website, choose who you would like to get the free 10 minutes from, and then email that person off the website, and they'll send you a disclaimer. If you're not a current client, we need to sign a disclaimer that this is not traditional medicine. Don't stop doing things your traditional medicine doctor recommends. We're not suggesting that at all. We're saying, in addition, traditional medicine, as you're finding, has a very difficult time with good treatments for viruses. Alternative medicine is more effective for most viral fields. So let's work together with traditional medicine and do the best we can.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and blessings. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Have a blessed day from Quantum Techniques.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.